Yes, this is clear. The second approach and third approach. The simplest approach is clear. We can also use entry interface on this third approach to get it. We can also use the typecasting conversion here. We can also use the other approaches to get this one. And by using this next dot, what's next here? We can get the keys, we can get the values also. Even if you convert it or typecast to entry type. If you typecast to entry type, we can also get the get key method. We can also get the get value method. So here I am not doing all that. I making it simple. Whatever we have written and whatever you execute, there are two different ways. It is possible. You cross verify that also, and you can cross verify. Here also we got the expert output. Clear, guys? Clear? The next and last concept before we go for surrounding questions on collections, and also some miscellaneous questions are there. The last one is, previously we are using only a predefined classes. Whenever you are using any generic type, what is the object type we are using? All the wrapper classes and a string builder class. Other than that, we didn't use anything. So for this, let me go for one of the collection type as some list. How do you create array list object? Array list to add some integer kind of data. So array list generic type is integer, then followed by al equals to new array list of, again generic type called as integer, then with the default constructor. Then how to add the elements? al dot add first one some value, then al dot add second one. Like this, we'll be adding some values into this or object into this array list collection. Now this integer is what? Predefined or programmer defined? Predefined. Then can we make something here as a programmer defined object type? That's the next point. That's the last concept. So is it possible or not possible? Yes, it is possible. Just to have a comparison, let me keep this here. So what is that programmer defined type or customized type is? First, I am creating a class called student. A student class, a class with the class name as a student. General to store some student data, directly we don't go with the values. We go for corresponding, what type of variables? Instance variables. So int roll number is one instance variable, then string name is the another instance variable. How do we initialize these instance variables? By using constructor. So I am taking a constructor called as public. Constructor name must be same as a class name. And how many parameters? So one is int, same variable name roll number with same case sensitivity, then string name with same. Yeah. Then inside this constructor, how do you initialize? This dot roll number equals to roll number, and then this dot name equals to name. This is how we initialize the constructor. Sorry, we can initialize the instance variables by using a constructor. Now, can we add this student object data into any collection? That's the point. Can we add this student collection data into any of the collections? So for that, I am taking one class, say public class test. Inside this, to execute public static void main method with appropriate syntax, starting of the main, and somewhere we'll close it later. Can we create the object for the student class? Please run the syntax. Student, say first student data I'm taking as S1 equals to new student of, what's the constructor? One integer and one string. So let me give, say 1, comma, some name James. Can we create one more object? How many objects are possible to create? n number of objects, student s2 equals to new student of 2 comma some other value, other name. Now this s1 is what? Object of which type? Which type of object this is? Which type of object? Student type of object, correct or not? This s2 is also a student type of object. Previously this integer is what? Integer kind of object. But here s1 is what? Student type of object. Now can we make this customized objects as a collection? The last point. Possible or not possible? Possible. Then here let me go for array list or any collection for that matter. Array list. So here what is generally generic type we use? Any predefined things. Yeah? But now here it is a programmer defined thing. I am making this as a student type. Array list student, then some object variable al equals to new array list of what's next generic type. Here also again student type only. Then default constructor semicolon. I am creating object for this array list. Normally we create for predefined wrapper classes and also string builder. But when it comes to here, so student is a customized, that is programmer defined class, and objects are nothing but s1, s2, which are of student type of objects. Then to add this s1 and s2 objects into a collection called as array list, here is the generic syntax of customized type. It is absolutely possible. Then how to add elements into this collection called array list? Al dot which method? Add method. And what type of objects are allowed to add? Student type only. What are those? S1 one time and al dot add of next one s2. Next, by assuming al dot add of s3 is also my student type only. Can we add? Yes or no? Can we add s3? Is it defined or not defined? Not defined. Can we add then? No, it is not possible. So there is no guarantee that S3 is a student type of object. That's why immediately we'll get a compile time error. It's not possible. Since S1 and S2 are defined as a student type only, so these are possible to add. Understood? So this is the last type where a customized type also can be added into a collection. We'll execute this program. Since S3 is not defined, since S3 is not defined as student type, therefore we'll get a compile time error. You should aware this because real time we are going to do this only. We create employee class, we'll add employee objects. Yeah. So that is where we are going to use the real time. So this is, you have to understand this one example last. Shall I go for execution? And also we'll print this. To understand this last one, I'm using this same previous project, and also I'm going for a new package. This time let me give as a customized collection. This is my package name. So inside this, I'm taking one class to execute. I'm naming it as a test class with main method. Yeah. So this is our basic class and main method. To execute it later, so first we have to go for a independent body. So which is independent there? Student class is independent. So class student, and the same example I'm going to discuss. So int sum roll number is one instance variable, then string name is another instance variable. To initialize instance variables, we go for a constructor. So public constructor name is same as the class name, then followed by two parameters are required. One is int, we can go for a same variable name or different variable name. So here I'm using the same. So string name. So this is a constructor. Purpose of constructor is to initialize current class instance members. So this dot roll number equals to constructor parameter variable name called as roll number is again. Next followed by this dot name equals to constructor parameter variable name called name. Yes, this is mandatory. This is mandatory or optional? How many of say optional? Only me. It's optional. Do we get any compile time error? Then why it's mandatory? Nobody saying. But the value will be assigned? No, value will not be assigned. So whatever we are passing as a parameter to this constructor will be assigned here only, but this will not be affected. This will contain a default value called as 0 for integers. That's what you get the output. Yeah. Next. So this is the basic class student and the corresponding instance members and initialization through constructor. Then how do you create this object for the student class? Student class name and some object variable name of programmer choice. Then new control space student. So here we have to give one integer and then followed by one string. So string I am giving in double quotes, say some James. Next, to create one more object, let me copy this and I'll paste it here. And this time I'm going to make object variable name as s2. The corresponding data can be same or different, no problem. I'll go for a different. So this is the second. Now this is normally we do it to access the corresponding class to assign the values to the constructor. Then can we add these objects s1 and s2 to any of the collection? So that is where the next concept is. So array list, I am taking an example. Then generic type. What's generic type? Student type we have to make because we are going to add s1 and s2. They are of student type of objects. And the collection is a group of individual objects. So here student, then AL is a programmer defined variable for array list. Then new array list, again generic type student. Then followed by a default constructor send. Why we are getting error? Import is missing. So import space java dot util dot star. Next, how to add these objects? Array list object variable AL dot add is a method and what is the name? S1 is one object variable name of student type and then followed by AL dot add of S2 is one more object of student type. Done. Now how to see the output? System.out.println. So print AL. Can you please tell me what's output? 1 James and also 2 Gosling. Correct or not? Are you sure? Last class also you are not guessing me. What's output we got? S1 and S2 are what? Objects. Object means it will give the value or it will give the address. So this is the address of S1 and this is the address of S2. So we are not getting the values. How to get the values? How to get it? Can we use something like AL dot roll number? Possible or not possible? No, this is not possible. So for this internally we have to use another reference variable. Another reference variable. So it is easy. Let me go for each loop. So this time for what kind of collection it is? Integer type or string type? Student type. That's why here also can we customize? Can we take a student type here? In for each loop syntax, can we go for student type, which is a programmer defined? So previously integer, string, entry, hash map, these things we used. They all are predefined type. Now what about student? Programmer defined type. Still we can use it. And I'm using object variable X. Then followed by which collection? AL is a collection. Syntactically correct? Correct or not? This is the best example of what is the application of for each loop action. It's not only for predefined things, even for any programmer defined collection types also, we can use a for each loop. This is the difference. Maybe previously we are using all integer string. We might assume that only for predefined things, not for programmer defined things. But here is a student is a programmer defined collection type and a programmer defined generic type. So it is also possible to use in for each loop. This is actual advantage of adding this along with a generic type from Java 1.5 version of this. Now how do we print it? System.out.println. We don't want the objects. Again, exit you print. What is output? Same output only. How come it will be different? First object, then second object. X printing first object of collection, and then next iteration second object of the collection. But we don't want this X. We want the corresponding data. Now you can see X dot roll number. Then I'm adding within double quotes some space or some dots, then followed by plus symbol. This time X dot name. So this is the way to get the corresponding data. So one James and two Gosling, which is nothing but first student object and second student object. Gives this print statement will gives only what? Address of student objects. But this gives the values.